Tonora Oram na Punjeshab vet Susan Shin. Thikim Garau Jarbajeter and Banawan vet on. Ach Nilchian, agus ni rau Jeshagams and ni rau Quara Agams and Susan Shin, agus is more on Nora. My name is Connolly. I'm a city councillor from 1999. I ran this debating society when I found out that Patricia McKenna wasn't going to be speaking. I was assured that I would get a chance afterwards because the decision had been made. The vast majority of Irish women voted against the Lisbon Treaty. To have 6 men speaking tonight is an obscenity. Ross be personally insulting. I know none of the 3 gentlemen against Lisbon. I have met one and I've spoken to none of them really on any personal basis ever. I am here as a proud mother, a barrister and a city councillor. I have taken many hours, I would say something between 50 and 100. I'm pathetic to read that treaty. It cost me €25. The consolidated version with the changes cost €125. 1 in 4 people in this country will never read a book, 27% are functionally illiterate, and we have these 3 gentlemen telling us that it's okay. Download the treaty from the computer if you want. We have the government telling us that they never read the treaty, but they know best. And we have obscene posters telling us it's very simple, just do what we tell you. But if you don't, pro-Europe. I come from a family of 14, many of whom live in Germany with fluent German. I am not anti-Europe, I am pro-Europe, an equal Europe without the militarization. Today I open my paper, and much to my disgust as a graduate of this university, once I was proud of that. Today I felt shame that 45 educated elite put their name to a yes vote without a single reference to an article in the treaty. Not a single reference. There's no mention of the cleaners in this establishment who keep the place running, nor the caretakers, nor the ordinary clerical staff. Indeed, nor is it made clear where they even asked. And some brave woman this morning went on the Keith Finnegan show and she said she was too afraid to give her name. Can you imagine in the 21st century talking about democracy where somebody from this establishment is afraid to give her name because of reprisals? And notwithstanding that, she was the most courageous woman I've heard because she said, I'm a member of the staff of UCG and nobody asked me anything. And if we tried to put in an ad for the no vote, there would be the most serious repercussions. The most serious repercussions, either to be sacked or to be disciplined. So bear that in mind when you read the 45 professors who are, and a few non-professors, who are a tiny percentage of this establishment that I was once so proud to be a member of and a graduate. I have here the NATO agenda and I'm going to deal with the Lisbon Treaty if I'm allowed. There have been accusations here that there's no reference to the Lisbon Treaty. I practically know it off by heart. Let me start by saying it endorses a closer relationship with NATO. I'm not a good person on the computer. I'm sure you're all better than me. Download NATO. One of its functions. What's on NATO's agenda? Besides dealing with terrorism and weapons of mass destruction, which they're still looking for, what else are they going to deal with? Failed states. I'll pass it around. Failed states is on their agenda, and we have as an objective in the Lisbon Treaty to work closely with that organisation. There are 345 pages. 22 pages deal with the militarisation of Europe. 2 pages on the environment with 6 words on climate change. We have them here championing climate change. 6 words on it, 2 pages on the environment, and a half a page on energy. 22 pages of the most binding obligations. Shall progressively increase our military spending, shall come to the assistance in the event of a terrorist threat or a terrorist attack. You don't even have to be a victim of a terrorist threat, just an object. A mutual defence clause, a mutual solidarity clause, a startup fund for military spending, the enshrining of the European Defence Agency, which Ireland has joined since 2004, and we are now putting the legislation through the door 5 years after we joined. Which the European Defence Agency is a promotion for the armaments industry. I could go on, I won't. It's in the treaty. I don't need to scaremonger. I I've taken the precaution of reading it, and the gentleman here who said the Nice Treaty is perfectly right. The Nice Treaty says, 1, commissioners must be reduced, must be done unanimously, which leaves open the solution to reduce it by 1 and to substitute the foreign commissioner who's called the High Representative. Finally, I deal with public services. There's an absolute commitment in this document to open up our public services, including health, to the naked market forces. And to give you a practical example of that, all the women here that have cervical smear tests at the moment, they go into the hospital, give their test. That test crosses the Atlantic to a Quest company that has hands up for paying millions in fraud. If we enshrine the Lisbon Treaty, we enshrine the liberalisation of our public services. Don't take my word for it. Read what IMEC have said about the wonderful opportunities that are going to be there for the liberalisation of our services. And I'm going to finish with one little article, which surprisingly, wait till you hear this article. There is a binding obligation on the European Parliament, as soon as that ink is signed, to have a debate twice a year. A debate is a good thing, but this debate is not to question. This debate is to monitor the implementation of the common foreign and security policy, not to eradicate poverty, not to question the defence, but to monitor its implementation. I am passionately pro-Europe. I would appeal to you to read the Lisbon Treaty. I work full-time. Notwithstanding that, I will make myself available. And I respect your decision when you make it on an informed basis on what's in that treaty. Finally, the Fundamental Charter of Human Rights is a wonderful document. As a practicing barrister and a feminist, I couldn't but praise it. However, the interpretation of that charter so far, and even though they tell us it wasn't law at the time, the European Court took it into account on at least 3 occasions. And what they have clearly said is the rights are fundamental, but they are subject to the 4 principal freedoms of the EU. The 4 freedoms are free movement of capital, free movement of labour, free movement of workers, and free movement to establish. I have read the case law, and I would appeal to you again to read it, and I would just shame on the government for not making a copy available. They quite clearly do not want you to read it. Alarm bells should ring loudly in your ears.
I will now take a speech from the floor in opposition of the motion.